On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Oklahoma City Thunder can't find a way to tank. No matter who they sit, who they rest, who they play, they're going to win. They beat Portland while benching Aleksej Pokusevski. Yeah, it's gotten to that point. What does this mean for the future of the team? And are the Thunder in danger of losing that fourth seed on tankathon.com? All that and more coming up on today's Locked On Thunder podcast. The Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I'm your host, Rylan Stiles. You can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LO ThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, brought to you by PrizePicks. We're going to dive into Oklahoma City Thunder knocking off the Portland Trailblazers in what was an interesting game that we're never going to forget. It saw Jalen Horde put up prime Shaq numbers. And the Thunder beat Portland despite fully leaning into the tank. And this is yet another emotionally exhausting game. Because on one hand, you had some young players do some stuff and you want to congratulate them. And you do want to talk about how cool it is for a guy like Jalen Horde to put up a big game and be the 8th player in Thunder history, 7th player in Thunder history to have a 2020 game. But on the other hand, it really hurts the Thunder draft lottery and what they're going to end up doing. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. But again, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made easy. Let's just talk about first how the Thunder truly leaned into the tank. And there shouldn't have been a question about if the Thunder were tanking for over a year now. But if there was anyone else holding out, if anybody else had any reservations, the Thunder sit SGA, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, Derek Favors, Ty Jerome, Mike Muscala. Okay, normal injury report. Yeah, throw in there Trey Mann. Throw in there Teo Maldon, who Richard Stamen at Mavs Draft on Twitter has stats to prove he's the worst player in the NBA. And that's who you're benching. You're benching Aleksej Pokusevski, who is playing well, got his first triple-double recently, last game. But still, it's Pokusevski. You're sitting out Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. You're sitting out Aaron Wiggins. Of course, sitting out Kenny Hustle. What more can they do? I say that every podcast, and that every podcast they do something else. They sit Teo Maldon. And again, I'm not trying to bash Teo, but if you're to the point where you're winning too many games and you think the solution is to bench Teo Maldon, there is no more arguing if they are or aren't trying to purposely lose games. But yet, when the ball is tipped, and there you are, the Thunder are able to find ways to win. They quite literally sign a trio of 10-day guys just out of nowhere in Xavier Simpson, Gilgeous, Jalen Horde, and they all three start. Of course, Horde's been here before, and he's been here over the weekend, but still, they all three start with Vid Krejci and Isaiah Roby, and that was good enough to beat Portland, who signed Chris Dunn, who started him and Keon Johnson with CJ Elby and Greg Brown and Drew Ebanks, and then had Ben McLemore coming off the bench. And this Thunder team still beat them 98-94. I'm not sure that there's any more levers to pull. I'm not sure there's anything else to do at this point whenever you're benching Poku and Teo Maldon. And folks, the road got a lot harder tonight as the Lakers were officially eliminated from playoff contention. What on earth are the Thunder going to do to cling to this fourth seed in the reverse standings? Because if you can't beat a team when you quite literally play 3 10-day guys as a starter and play over 40 minutes, and you have Jalen Horde, and you have it Krejci and Isaiah Roby, that just speaks to the culture of the Thunder. And we'll get into that more. But how did the Thunder win this game? Again, just heart and energy. You saw The entire bench engaged all game long, communicating, helping players out during timeouts, celebrating their accomplishments. And that praise and that engagement does go a long way with the players on the floor. Isaiah Roby talked about that after the game. He talked about how, these veterans like SGA, Darius Baisley, Lou Dort, all the guys on the bench, they have every right to just goof off and do whatever during the game and, clap during a timeout and move on with their day because they're not playing. But the fact that they were so in tune with every possession and in tune with helping the young guys is how you produce these wins. And in a 4-point game against a fellow tanking team, it's how you produce things like this. Having an organization that values the G League so much that you use the same plays, the same verbiage. You have a coach from the Blue, and he now has his right-hand man down with the Blue. And you have these two organizations connected as one. Having those instances are how you win these games. Being a team where agents and players alike can feel like, if I perform well in this 5-game sample size with the Thunder after playing well with the Blue, I have a legitimate shot at having a long-term deal in some capacity, either an NBA contract or a two-way deal. I have a chance at a job with this organization because of how much they invest in the G League and invest in players and young players who are given opportunity. All of that combines for players being excited to play in Oklahoma City, for players wanting to play in Oklahoma City as a young player to kind of get more on solid footing in the NBA. And it results in wins like this, where you can go as far to tank as benching Alexei Pokusevski and Theo Malvon and still come away with a win. I said it last night. I'll say it again tonight. I don't want a peep from anybody this offseason about culture. If the Thunder make moves this offseason to put themselves in a position to lose games again next year, to tank again next year for that loaded draft class, I do not want to hear a peep about, well, what if this ruins the culture? What if the culture suffers? What if they forget how to win? What if they turn into the Kings? As I've often said, in the NBA, drama is around the corner. You don't need to chase it. You don't need to look for it. It will find you. And until that drama finds the Thunder, you shouldn't worry about it. Because they can't even tank when they bench Alexei Pokusevski. That's why you shouldn't worry about it. That's all there is to it. You beat the Blazers with Jalen Horde, who's bounced around from the Blazers to the Thunder on 10-day deals, two-way deals in the G League. He has a 20-20 game. He puts up 20 points and 20 rebounds plus. 24 points to be exact, and 20 rebounds. Now, you want to talk about tanking? StatMuse, which we've all had jokes at their expense for the clownery they've put on Twitter about the Thunder. In their tweet about Jalen Horde, they put in parentheses, he plays for OKC, thinking people wouldn't know. Haha, funny joke. And then they get their information wrong. This is a Twitter account dedicated to stats and info. And they got information wrong. Because they didn't know who Jalen Horde was. They thought he was a rookie. He's been in the league for 2 separate teams. That's who the Thunder started tonight. That's who the Thunder rolled out tonight. So if you have any ill will or any bad feeling today, it should only be about tough luck. It's not due to a lack of trying. And you've got to applaud these guys. You've got to applaud Jalen Horde. You've got to applaud, Xavier Simpson. You've got to applaud Isaiah Roby. Because at any given moment, they could have folded tonight. And they didn't. And they made the most of it. And it sounds simple, right? If you've only watched the Thunder, if you're one of those fans that only watch the Thunder, and I get it, you don't have time to watch the entire NBA, obviously. That's why we have Locked On now. That's why we have the Locked On NBA podcast. This is not normal. It sounds silly, right? Why wouldn't players try hard every time that they play down the stretch of a season, even in a losing season? Because they need to perform well to continue their careers. But there's been many teams, many players, many of young 10-day guys that just pack it in. And they're all about themselves. They chuck up their shots, and then they move on with their lives. They don't buy in. At every turn, the Thunder, while bringing in worse and worse and worse caliber players, they continue to bring in better and better and better and better quality people who buy into to the construct, who buy into the team, and while they're still trying to put on their tape to get another job, they're trying to collectively win games. That's the difference in the Thunder and the Kings. That's the difference in the Thunder and the Magic. That's the difference in the Thunder and the Rockets. That's the difference in the Thunder and the Pistons. That's the difference in the Thunder and whoever else you want to complain about, who's been in the lottery for decades. That's it. And at this point, the jokes are funny. The jokes are hilarious, but they might also be right that, you know what? If the Thunder are so bad at losing games and accidentally win them, maybe it's time to purposefully win them. We'll talk about all that coming up, but first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at PrizePicks. Folks, PrizePicks is incredible. It's awesome. It is daily fantasy made easy, and you want to get involved in it. I love it so much. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. It's just you versus the projected numbers. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. PrizePicks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Use the award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play Store. PrizePicks offers any prop you can think of, from points scored to rebounds to assists and steals. PrizePicks offers mixed sport entries as well, so you can take the over on Joel Embiid points and the under on Whit Merrifield hits even. You can combine basketball and baseball. You can combine anything you want to. PrizePicks offers the NBA, college basketball, college football, NFL, MLB, college, MMA, and more. So test it out today. For a limited time, PrizePicks has an exclusive no-brainer offer for our listeners. You can go get $50 for free if your player in your first PrizePicks entry scores a single point. It's a single point for your player by using the code NBA to get you $50 for free. $50 for free using code NBA at PrizePicks right now, the award-winning app on the Google Play or on the App Store. Make sure you use NBA for that $50 for free at PrizePicks on your entry, your very first one, if they score a point. Also, want to say right now, my good friends over at BetOnline, folks. BetOnline is incredible. It's your number one source for your betting needs and sports info from the latest sports developments, including weekly Master Championships, like this weekend has the Master Championships, and your weekly updates on all the other sports worlds, odds, podcasts, and reviews of all the different leagues this season. BetOnline is your place for sports wagering information. So head on over to the website today or even use your mobile device and check out the trends and actions. BetOnline, where the game starts. And folks, baseball is starting up. So let's go show you how easy it is to use BetOnline. You type in betonline.net on your web browser. You type in the sports book. And now, after you're at betonline.net and the sports book, you go to baseball, MLB. Let's see what games are on deck. You got Red Sox Yankees on Thursday. Red Sox 5.5 underdogs. Let's go with the Red Sox in that one and see how they perform. We'll check back on that on Friday. So that's how easy it is to use betonline.net. Make sure you check it out today. We are back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you for making Locked On Thunder your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. Your second listen, go check out the Locked On Now podcast, a nightly recap show of every game from across the NBA with breakdowns of our local experts. It's free and available across all platforms, wherever you get podcasts from, as well as the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. Subscribe to this show for free as well on any platform, including YouTube. And you can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Styles. Let's get back into this show and talk about, again, the Thunder beating Portland. We talked about the heart, the culture, the fight these guys had. Portland grew a 19-point lead. You're thinking everything's going right. Portland's up 19. You benched Pokashevsky. You benched Theo Maledon. You benched Aaron Wiggins. You benched Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. You benched all these young players. And Portland's up 19. Yeah, a 23-2 run ends all that momentum, and the Thunder come back to win. This game had 5 lead changes. 6 was the biggest Thunder lead this game, 5 times tied as well. This game had the Thunder win points in the paint 56-40. The Thunder won second chance points 14-11. The Thunder lost fast break points 10-9. OKC out-rebounds Portland by 7. Portland had 1 more turnover than OKC, but they won points off turnovers 24-17. Portland did, despite having 1 more turnover. Portland bench outscores OKC 32-18. The Thunder shot 48% from the floor, 31% from three, and 50% at the line. Portland shot 42% from the floor, 34% from three, and 81% from the line. Jalen Horde, the big story. 24 points, 21 rebounds, 14 of which were defensive, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 rebounds, 2 fouls, 64% from the floor, 1 for 3 from three. Jalen Horde has been given many 10-day deals and has been given the opportunity on a 2-way deal at one time. And when he gets NBA action, he's pretty solid for the Thunder. The problem is he usually gets NBA action in a contract like this where he has no other choice but to produce. Like there's no other option. He's going to, with the amount of time he's allotted, the amount of usage he's allotted, he's going to perform well. But I do find him fascinating. It's just that he does not have enough boom or bust potential to where I don't view the Thunder using him long-term on a 2-way deal. Remember, they only have one left this offseason since they signed Lindy Waters to a 2-year, 2-way deal. I just don't see it fitting with Jalen Horde. I also don't see them making room for him on their active roster because this roster crunch will see 4-3-2 picks coming in. They have 4 picks right now that they can control. They could consolidate them into less picks than they did last year, and that they're likely going to do this year as well. But all in all, there's not a spot for Jalen Horde, despite him playing well in this 10-day deal so far, and not just this game, but over the weekend as well. Lindy Waters, again, another tanking move that should be accounted for. Lindy Waters played 4 minutes in this game, 2 for 3 from three, a rebound and a steal. Olivier Sarr, 10 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks, 30% from the floor. And again, as I said yesterday, welcome to your Moses Brown game on Sunday. He goes for 5 3-pointers in this game, goes 0 for 3 with 10 points, 12 rebounds, and just is there as a person, as a player, just there to collect the rebounds and points because he's going to get 40-plus minutes and he's just going to have to do something on the floor. You shouldn't talk yourself into Olivier Sarr. Isaiah Simpson gets his first NBA start, plays his first NBA game, and he plays 43 minutes. He scores 10 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, a steal, 2 turnovers, 41% from the floor. Had a nice hook shot at times. He's played very well with the blue, Simpson is more of a likely scenario to where maybe he can crack it on a 2-way deal, but still I don't really see it with him either. But it is nice to see him get rewarded for all of his hard work in the G League and how well he played for the Blue this entire season and years past as well. He was on the team last year as well in the G League bubble. And he gets rewarded with an NBA spot for the rest of the season and gets to start an NBA game and play an NBA game for 43 minutes. So which brings me to my next point. The Thunder have a back-to-back. They play again tonight against Utah. And the following players played 35-plus minutes. Sarr played 38. Simpson played 43. Roby played 43. Horde played 45. Georges played 42. And if you pull the same shenanigans, right, you sit down Teo Malbon, you sit down Pokashevsky, you sit down Jerry, you sit down Aaron Wiggins. I don't see how you can overcome that, playing on a second night of back-to-back while these guys have been so exerted in this game. Despite Utah also playing on the second night of a back-to-back, I just can't see how this all fits together. And that might be the saving grace. Because if you look at the Thunder upcoming schedule, which we're going to do on the other side, this might be the last loss of the year. And that's a depressing reality to have to think about. But to wrap up this game, the Moneyball pick was Lindy Waters, but of course Isaiah Roby had 3, and he wins the Moneyball pick. The MVP award for this game goes to you, the fans, for sitting it out and watching this game. But in actuality, goes to Jalen Horde for playing pretty well in this game, obviously having the 7th or 8th 20-point game, 20-point, 20-rebound game, 20-plus, 20 game. You know what I'm trying to say. 20-20 game. 7th time, 8th time in Thunder history that it's happened, and it happens for Jalen Horde. So MVP for him. Congratulations to Jalen Horde for playing well in this game. But coming up, it's our favorite time of the year, favorite time of the week, favorite time of the podcast. We update you on the Tankathon standings, but this time it's much more somber. I do want to say right now about something that's not somber, something that's very fun, and that's RockAuto.com. How is RockAuto.com fun? Well, RockAuto.com is a family-owned business serving you auto parts online for 20 years. That's right, 20 years ago. You could have been going to RockAuto.com. And folks, I got to tell you, my favorite part about RockAuto.com is that I know nothing about cars, and that sounds crazy, but it's because I know nothing about cars and I love it so much, because they do not know that I know nothing about cars. If I walk into a brick and mortar store tomorrow, they're going to see me and they're going to see a sucker. they're going to try to sell me $50 windshield wipers. That's not the case at rockauto.com. They don't know the difference between me and a handyman and a full-blown mechanic. So they're going to give all of us a well-rounded, reliably low price at their amazing selection. It's awesome. Check it out. Tell them that Locked On sent you in the How Did You Hear About Us box, and they'll know what to do from there. RockAuto.com, amazing selection, reliably low prices of the parts your car will need. RockAuto.com, again, amazing selection, reliably low prices of the parts your car will need. RockAuto.com. We are back on the Locked On Thunder Podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I want to tell you right now about our good friends over at the Locked On NBA Podcast. It's your second listen today. Locked On NBA has Locked On experts covering the biggest stories from around the association Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available across all platforms. And again, we're Locked On Thunder, your team every day. Every morning we're here talking Thunder basketball. Subscribe for free across all platforms so you never miss an episode. And for those asking, yes, we will continue this all throughout the off season. So you are not rid of me just because the regular season is about to end for the Thunder. And it cannot end soon enough because lately it's been somewhat of a disaster for the Thunder late in the regular season. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about where the Thunder go from here. The Thunder still sit at 4 right now. They're a game away from a top 3 spot, which is where you want to be because a top 3 spot grants you the tie for the best odds at the top overall pick with 14%. At 4, they have a 12.5% chance at number 1 overall pick. They have a 48% chance at a top 4 pick. If the lottery went the way it's supposed to, the Thunder would control pick 4, 15, and 30 right now in the first round and have a high second round pick at 34. The problem is the Thunder are only half a game up on Indiana. That's not good. That's not good. We'll be half a game up on Indiana. Do you want to know why that's not good? I realistically think that the Thunder could have their last loss of the year tonight against Utah. And I'm not even so confident about that because Utah's coming off a back-to-back as well. They've pretty well sealed their fate, kind of, and in terms of the standings and matchups of it all. I'm not sure who they're actually going to play tonight. We'll have to wait it out. See, tonight we're going to have to sweat bullets because they're not going to release an injury report until about 1, 2, 3 p.m. They're going to sweat it out this whole day about who's playing, who's not playing. And let's just say we can count on them to lose to the Jazz. Well, tonight the Lakers got bumped from contention, so what are they playing for? You already beat the Lakers early in the year whenever they could have, turned their season around. Now their season's over. This team is going to beat the Lakers. Then you play the Clippers, who have no incentive to play from that standpoint of, yes, a loss technically would kind of help you with their pick, whatever, but they're going to be the play-in. They're going to be fine. They can take care of their own business and then change the pick in that regard. So they're not going to play the last game of the year, probably, to where you're probably going to win that game. Then you fall to 5-6 on the odds, the way that Kevin O'Connor projected today in the Ringer. You fall 5-6 on the odds. You have bad lottery luck or just correct lottery luck at that point. Then it's time to have a hard conversation about who actually won the Paul George trade with the Clippers. That's a scary thought. Look at the Pacers schedule. To close things out, they play Philadelphia and Brooklyn. That's it. They play a back-to-back, Philadelphia and Brooklyn, Saturday, Sunday. What do those two teams have to play for at that point? We'll see. Who are they going to play at that point? We'll see. But it's scary. It is scary hours. Thursday, we got a Jazz recap for you. Friday, we have a Jaden Ivey profile with Richard Stamen at Mavs Draft on Twitter to get you set for the NBA draft and start our profile series. Until then, follow me on Twitter at Ryland_style. Subscribe for free across all platforms and be good. And be good to one another.